Alright, here we are, guys. Here we are. Ready to continue with the day number 5? Yes, day number 5 would be of Dungeon Siege 3. One of the most beleaguered, let me change the title of the stream. One of the most beleaguered games in the history of the seventh generation, at least, of video games, but also, I would say, out of all of the gaming generations, if I had to pick. So, yeah, pretty much one of the most beleaguered games. For those of you who are joining us right now, just as a quick recap, Dungeon Siege 3 is the third entry, naturally, of the Dungeon Siege franchise, which pretty much had an extremely it had extremely different gameplay mechanics. You would control a party rather than a single character and everything. Also take into account that there's one game that we streamed 2 years ago, I believe, or 1 year ago, which is the real Dungeon Siege 3. This would actually be 4, because Space Siege is actually Dungeon Siege 3, and it's pretty similar to Diablo as well, in the sense that you don't control a party, you only control a single character, but it has point-and-click gameplay mechanics. You can check out the stream we did a complete analysis, just like we are doing with this one, uh, as I've said, roughly 2 years ago. Alright, the difference here is that this one uses a joystick. We've analyzed all of this in the first part of the walkthrough, but for those of you who are joining us right now, basically this game uses non-point-and-click gameplay mechanics, which means that you are meant to play with a joystick, just like what I'm doing here. Alright, recap in terms of the story. Last time we were stuck here in the swamp, or here at the swamp. Pretty much we went through here, we had a fight with Maruyatum here. This is the boss. As I've said 11 years ago, when I originally played this game with the warrior, basically this guy almost made me quit. This guy almost made me quit 11 years ago.
I'm glad to be free, but I'm sorry that so many natives had to die. I wish there could have been a less violent solution. The Urshamash are a fascinating people. It's like they've taken all of our values and turned them on their heads, and then shrunk them. Yes, those babbling heads are more than a little revolting, but the natives have their reasons for that too. I apologize. It's been a trying day and I ramble.
Just so you have a quick recap, if you want the full story, watch the previous part. I cannot do anything other than suggest that you watch the previous part of the walkthrough for the complete lore, but basically this guy is Phineas, he's a geomancer. We need a geomancer to clear the path to exit the swamp. Basic description. He was with the general, they got separated, all of that is in the previous stream. And at the end of the previous stream, beating Maruyatum, this boss, we managed to save him and the rest of the company, the rest of the warriors that you can see there to the right. So, Geomancer. Let's explore all of the dialogue options because we're doing a 100% completion.
You seem a bit taken with the first people. A little odd since they might have killed you.
The Queen has my loyalty first, but I was a scholar before I was a soldier. These villagers are endlessly interesting. They may be savage, but they're not evil. They just want to be left alone. Not so different from most people, really.
What are those talking heads that I've seen around the village?
They're Urshamesh ancestors. It's really quite unusual. For these people, death is the ultimate tragedy. Not in the way that you or I might think, though. For them, a spirit that returns to the River of Souls is forever lost to his clan. A most terrible fate. So when a kinsman dies, they capture his soul. and then place it in his shrunken head. I haven't the foggiest idea how they do it. And those chattering heads, they're a dour bunch.
Is it true? Can you get us out of the swamp?
Indeed. I never thought studying old dwarven lore would turn me into such a valuable instrument of war. That certainly wasn't my intention. Lord Devonsey is a good friend. He would not have left me, even if I didn't have my magic. But now that I'm free, I should be able to fashion a bridge of mud and roots. It's a bit larger than anything I've done before, but I'll manage.
Remember, guys, the second we could beat Maruyatu, pretty similar to what happens in Metroidvania games. A lot of the roots of this swamp, they have been cleared, so we can fully explore the rest of the map. So we'll begin with some backtracking. We'll get there in a moment. Remember, we are doing a 100% completion of the game. All dialogue lines and all side quests. We also need to turn in a side quest.
I've never studied geomancy. It was barely mentioned in any of my books.
No, the dwarves kept their secrets to themselves, and most of the human scholars dismissed geomancy as an undisciplined art. In actuality, it's a form of magic that demands patience. Conveying this essence is difficult. After all, whole libraries are dedicated to the art. But you might say that molding the energies isn't unlike a gem cutter's work, carefully shaping the rough stone into a polished jewel.
Here we can see, as I mentioned in the first stream, the huge influence of Mass Effect during the 7th generation on pretty much all games, not only RPG related games, even games like The Lord of the Rings War in the North that we played previously to this one. Even that game, which is basically hack and slash, an evolution of an isometric hack and slash, an evolution of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, it's made by the same studio. Even that game, which doesn't have a lot of traditional RPG elements, had to include dialogue lines. You can check out the channel to see what I'm talking about. But yeah, just like The Lord of the Rings War in the North, this game included them, because DungeonSiege 1, 2, and even Space Siege, which was released during this generation exclusively on PC, not a single one of them included dialogue lines. But this one did. That's because of the huge influence. There are games that had a huge impact on during the 7th generation. One of them clearly is Mass Effect, and overall the style of BioWare's dialogue system. Dungeon Siege 3 has one incredible thing, which is that it's like Diablo 3, but the dialogue options are
Sadly,
pretty
we've
in-depth,
suffered many losses in our service to the Queen.
pretty
And to my
detailed.
shame, that included the dwarves under her care. We simply don't know if there are any survivors. No clans have contacted us. And even the great mine of Glitter Delve, where Her Majesty lives, is empty. I learned all that I know by studying the tomes there, and I'll continue to preserve what I can. It's a small act of penance for so great a sacrifice.
The sooner we can leave this swamp, the better. Can you raise the land bridge soon?
As soon as we return to the camp, I'm sure we'll be moving out soon.
Okay.
I must be off. My road takes me to Stonebridge.
Indeed. We are all in your debt. These are troubling times, but your actions remind me of kinder days. Days when the Legion and the Crown served one another. May we meet again.
Alright. What our character just said is true. First we'll explore the rest of the swamp, because as I've said, we need to do some backtracking. Just like in a Metroidvania game, because the swamp was partially locked.
You fight uncommonly well. The savages won't trouble us again, not after such a rout.
Alright.
I'll gather the rest of my people and meet you back at our camp.
Magnificent. So I think we're done here. Pretty much. We have already saved. So let's see. Well, as I was commenting, we have. This guy's not gonna attack us.
Shamans can speak with the
No.
roots. Did you see them move for you?
Did you notice that that guy has Gara's voice? Ah, here we have a shop. We have a shop, and we are not being attacked. All right. We need to do some backtracking to begin. We need to turn in this quest. No, we need to finish it. Find the second scouting party. Because we couldn't find it because of the routes. Right, you cannot finish that side quest until you clear the boss. And there we have another side quest, believe it or not. Alright, so we need to do some backtracking here in the swamp. We need to finish all of the quests here. Remember, we are going to.
From the Azunite Church. What is she doing here?
Remember, we are going for 100% completion of the game. All of the side quests. So we need to finish that one and this one.
Was it worth it? I can only hope that the lives you took were necessary. I came here because I didn't want to serve Azunai through war. Now that you've done your fighting, you might help me tend to its victims.
The priestess.
I've been collecting materials from the swamp that I can use as remedies and cures. Will you help me find more?
I would have included who are you, but well.
This isn't the place I'd expect to find an Azunite. How did you get here?
I was once an apprentice alchemist, a promising one, I might add. When my father fell gravely ill, I found that none of my cures would help him. I prayed and prayed, and Azunai saved my father. Since then, I've dedicated my life to his service. Unfortunately, most Azunites seem to think that spilling blood in Jane Cassinder's name is the only true means of worship. I teach the children and help the villagers with my remedies. It's a simple life, but better than fighting in Jane Cassinder's army.
Alright.
What are you looking for? Gathering a few roots doesn't sound like much of a challenge.
If only it were that easy. I've no shortage of bog plants, but slug eggs, that's a different story. They have extraordinary healing properties. With all the bloodshed that's taken place here, the villagers have...
I must be off. I'll look for the eggs when I'm in the bog.
Alright.
Thank you. And be careful out there. The slugs can be rather vicious.
Alright. So we got one more side quest. During the early years of the Empire of the Stars, Azunite faithful began... Yeah, they are like nuns, if I had to say, more than priestess. Because they kind of like, I don't know, tend to victims, I don't know. They are like medics at the same time. Began to appear in remote outlying regions of the Agalan Mountains. For centuries, they were an obscure sect of peaceful warriors, offering shelter and aid to anyone who visited one of their sanctuaries. Later, as the faith grew stronger, a struggle erupted between the traditional beliefs of the Empire and the new, growing faith of Azunite. This struggle eventually led to the War of Legions and the dissolution of the Empire. The Azunite faith was adopted by the strongest Imperial Legion, the 10th, us, and was carried west to the Kingdom of Ebb. The Azunite Church became the dominant faith in Ebb and in other inheritor states of the Empire, preaching a simple doctrine of diligent labor and service to one's neighbors and kin. Traditionally, the Church venerated men and women who protected those weaker than themselves, much as the historical Azunite protected humanity against the tyrannical giant Saramoth. This doctrine was well suited to the Legion, and most legionnaires were strong supporters of the Church, until the rise of Jane Cassinder, who subverted control of the faith and turned it against them. Okay, what's this? The simple shelter is typical of most for-people dwellings, providing reasonable cover from rain, but little else. Though their homes are often built in close proximity to communal areas, the private space of an Urshamesh shelter is unquestioningly respected. Alright. Pretty much. I was mentioning before all of this introduction, we already have our side quests, we already have everything, so just as a quick recap, as we backtrack through the swamp, we need to finish the previous side quest that I showed you some minutes ago. We need to finish that.
Victory!
Don't tell me they explode. There we go. We need to finish that. We need to find the second party, the second scouting party, now that the roots have been removed. And we need to do this side quest that we were just given. Okay, so I think I explored this zone. Damn it. There we go. As you can see, last time we pretty much didn't analyze. I wanted to analyze a lot of aspects of the game, but pretty much the full rotation, as you can see, definitely took the spotlight because I precisely unlocked. Those are the mushrooms, right? The skeleton looks very old and its weapons date from a century ago or more. It was not buried here by the first people. Perhaps it's the corpse of some long forgotten adventure. Well, there are no medicines here. Last time the spotlight was definitely taken. That's our summon, don't worry. The spot was definitely taken by the complete rotation because here I'll show you. For the first time we could have a full rotation. As you can see here, I unlocked the creative distraction and finally we could have a full rotation. In case you are wondering why some minutes ago I could slow down the spiders, it's because my roll, my evasion, pretty much slows enemies it comes into contact with. Like that. That ensures that that wasn't a good move. Here you can see the problems with the controls that the game has, especially when you are being attacked kind of like in melee, at least when you are playing as a mage. As I've said, I played this game 11 years ago, and I played as the warrior, and basically don't think it's much faster, because the game has two stances. This is the melee the kind of like the single enemy stance, and the one that I'm always using is the group stance. You're actually meant to alternate between them. Thank you, that was blocked up until now, thanks to the fact that Maru Yatum is no more. Alright, we've got the first boss of the day. Don't you worry. Thanks to our vampiric attack, we are being healed by the... It's a mini boss. Thanks to our vampiric attack, our abilities heal us.
We wouldn't have survived. You have our thanks. We should be able to make it back to the camp on our own. We'll tell Roderick what happened, but I'm sure he'll want to thank you himself.
Sure, we still have to save one more party. So we get all of this. I need to apply the essences to my gear. So, as I was commenting, generally, in the game, you are meant to alternate between those two stances. But the idea is that if you are playing with the mage, once you unlock the first master talent that we unlocked last time, I can use this ability, and it's pretty much all of the melee attacks that I need. Look at this, even if they are on top of me. There, because my normal attack, as you can see here, it doesn't deal damage to enemies that are right in front of me. I would need to do this to change the other stance and use this. That's what I would normally do. That's what I would normally do if I were playing with the warrior, for example. Thank you. This is unlocked as well. Now that we defeated Maru Yatum. And I see there the objective. There's the last party. Oh! They're attacking us from behind, people. Damn it. There we go. So yes, basically we are... Basically the game has two stances, one for melee and one for ranged. But as you can see here, and as you've been able to see in my walkthroughs,
They are trying to protect their eggs.
in my walkthrough, at least when, according to the class that you are playing, if you're playing mage, for example, and I assume it's the same for the Archon right there. Here we can see
Be judged.
a flaw with the camera. If you are playing with the mage, at least, you want to look for abilities that will, like this one, Creative Distraction, that they basically replace the single target melee attack. With the warrior, you cannot do it, for example. For 30 seconds, Reinhardt slowly recovers. Focus, remember, is the way they call mana in this game, so yeah. Barrier, I don't use it a lot. I use Mirror Leap. This one, for example, this one is for my single target stance, right? So this one is for my single target stance, this one is for my single target stance, and this one as well. I actually don't use them except for the decoy when I'm fighting a boss. And I need to use it more because I need to achieve the mastery that you see there. But except for the decoy, for the rest I use the Geometry of Annihilation, I use the healing here, and I use this attack. This attack basically replaces my single target attack. There you can see that it's one hand and this one two-handed. It's basically single target attack and long range area of effect attack. Basically, there's no reason to use the single target stance unless you're playing with the warrior because the attacks are faster, I remember. So we'll get this one so we can recover mana, but basically it's mana. And then this is the decoy. No, I need the Creative Distraction, pretty much. This is my best attack. Increase damage by 5% per rank, pretty much. It's this, even the skill tree in this game. See, this is the slowing effect that I inflict on enemies as I dodge. This doesn't require any mana. That's why I love this ability. And as for Anjali, as for my companion, she has the summon. She's got Ignite, which is basically a passive. I don't want to invest anything on this because this is as well the... You can completely ignore single target stances with this. So we have this one, we have this one. I think this one I don't have it. Anjali is encased in a volatile magical barrier lasting of... If it absorbs 25% of her health as damage, I assume. Each member is with a volatile barrier. Well, let's get it. Okay, perfect. And we will increase the damage of Pillar of Fire. It's pretty powerful. And the heal, let's increase the healing so we compensate damage and healing. So pretty much, as I was commenting, the game has two stances, but translucent and fragile, these curious mushrooms emit small amounts of gas when touched. Though highly poisonous, the gas dissipates quickly and will not harm anyone nearby if they are clever enough to hold their breath. Okay. So, the game has two stances, as I was mentioning, but you can play only with your ranged stance unless you're playing with the warrior. Well, I ignore if with Katarina you can basically need... There's another boss, another mini boss there.
You may wish to breathe through your mouth. The stench here is unpleasant.
You don't say. It's the same description. So yes, basically, I don't know if with Katarina you may need to do kind of like to use the single target stance. And yes, basically last time we explored the full rotation that you can see here, basically, that the game has to offer. You don't need to change stances, at least with Anjali and this guy. They're with the ranged attackers. So yeah, pretty much. Maybe you need you need with the warrior and maybe with Katarina. But as far as I can tell, there's no reason for me to use this one, the single target stance, other than to use the decoy. Pretty much, which is pretty comfortable because it's only one ability. I don't need to change stances most of the time, only for this, to do this, to create the decoy, which I need to do because I want the mastery. It doesn't act as a tank, it doesn't generate aggro yet, but once I get the mastery, it will generate aggro. So I need to train that decoy, but as for the rest, they're all ranged area of effect abilities. So it's questionable the design to include the melee stance, the single target stance, the one-handed stance, pretty much. Here, let's use our ability. It had some kind of shield because it didn't take damage. As soon as that hits it without a shield, there we go. It's dead. So yes, basically, it could be classified as a questionable combat mechanic decision, design, I guess. Alright, there's the eggs. Alright, Swift Musket. I need to play with Katarina eventually this game, because maybe with her single target attacks are amazing because she kind of like uses guns and muskets, and she's more like a single target character. As for the rest, as I've said, we focus on this full rotation, the economy of the combat that the game has to offer, which you can see has two different resources. There you can see that I have those two purple orbs. Those two purple orbs, I can use them to use different abilities. Like that one, you could see that I depleted it for no reason. I use it to heal myself, but it can also be used to create that... to use the ability that I just purchased. The one that recovers focus. Like that, and now I should recover, as you can see, I'm recovering the mana, the focus, basically, while blocking. I can recover focus, so that will come in handy. But as for the rest, you recover most of your focus by performing basic attacks, and then you spend it by using your offensive abilities. Your defensive abilities, you have to block, and they consume those two orbs rather than... See that the first one is about to be filled there, and as such the game uses hybrid system, because for example in Diablo 2, in Diablo 1, basically they only have mana. You just have mana, you recover your mana through different artifacts, through your gear, through your stats, for example increasing your magic or whatever. You increase your mana and you spend it by using abilities. Here you actually recover mana, you recover focus. You recover focus through your basic attacks. By simply hitting A on the joystick.
I can hardly believe it. All my men have returned.
Then once you get focus, you use your offensive abilities.
When I say that you've given us hope, raise the morale of the men. Please take these supplies. We'll say they fell off the wagon on the way to Glitterdelve. You've more than earned them.
He didn't give me a choice. He didn't give me a choice, sorry. And yeah, basically then your defensive abilities are kind of like separated you don't use the same resources as the mana pool, which is there we go, which is extremely interesting because it makes you keep track of two different resources. I would say it makes the game easier at some point, but well, because you don't have to worry that much about mana. Alright, and the exit is through here, the rest of the swamp.
We go our separate ways from here. Pity to see you go. The Queen could use good people like yourselves.
A pity also that my freedom was purchased in blood. The first people were only safeguarding their land. From their point of view,
That's more than enough, Phineas. I'll not hear any ungrateful talk, not in front of our benefactors.
Yeah, in case you are wondering, if you don't destroy the... If you don't destroy the orb over at Gandoric Manor, I think you can negotiate without fighting the boss, but we would have lost a lot of content. We would have lost the content of fighting the second boss. So I think it's not worth it. Besides, you cannot complete the huge Gandoric Manor side quest. So yeah, pretty much. It's alright.
Let him speak his mind. I admire his candor, at least.
The boy never lacked for sincerity or nerve, just like his father in that.
You speak of Phineas's father as if you knew him well. Who was he?
An old friend, a comrade in arms, many years gone.
Have you noticed how expressive the facial expressions are? How lively they feel, how vivid they feel, the facial expressions, how realistic they feel. Pay attention to the movement of the eyes, the expressions of the facial expressions of the cheeks, of the chin, everything, not only the eyes. That's something that a lot of games, of modern games from the 8th generation, have had issues with, because it was pretty difficult to make. It was pretty difficult to make, but during the 7th generation, they all had the technique of Mass Effect. Probably they all had it learned by heart. And then when we get Mass Effect Legendary Edition, the remaster, the faces were so bad. Also with Mass Effect Andromeda. So yeah.
Now that we've rescued your people,
It's interesting how during the 7th generation,
Not much what forces I have to
the facial expressions
try to get there ahead of Jane Cassinda.
were much more
With
expressive.
these cannons, we can mount a respectable defense. We'll hold Jane's army at every gatehouse, every choke point. Keep the Queen out of enemy hands. But it's no longer a question of victory. Not with the forces I have left, and no allies to support us.
Alright, you hold your ground here. Stonebridge. We'll get to that in a minute.
what's the fastest route to Stonebridge?
On the far side of the water, you'll find an old trading road. It should bring you straight to Stonebridge.
How long will it take to raise the land bridge?
not long. I begin straight away.
If our fortune holds, then Jane Cassinda will not have reached Glitterdelve. Not yet. We'll march to Queen Rosalind's side as quickly as we can. Perhaps we'll see each other again before this war is done.
We promised you a road out of the swamp. Follow me.
Don't think so. Don't think so. I need to turn in the side quest first. The other side quest. We need to turn in this one. Remember, we are doing a 100% completion of the game. It won't take me more than some seconds. Where's the side quest? Okay. Ah, through there. Perfect. We need to speak to the nun. To the priestess there. So yeah. While we turn in the side quest, as I've been commenting in previous streams, remember that once we reach Stonebridge, we need to recover the Grand Chapterhouse. Once we reclaim the Grand Chapterhouse, we'll have access to the Treasures of the Sun DLC. I will specially mark that stream, whichever it is, maybe this one or the next one, because one of the main attractions that the game has is the Treasures of the Sun DLC, in which you return to the Azunai desert, or the Azunoi desert, or whatever, however it's called.
You're back. Were you able to find any slug eggs?
I have them here. They aren't the most pleasant things to handle.
Let me lighten your burden then. Truly, stranger, thank you. I never thought an ally of the Royalist army would help me. Let me give you some of my supplies. They'll be of use to you on the road. May Azunai watch over you. May Azunai bless you.
Alright, there we go. And pretty much this is it. Let's sell our stuff. And as I was mentioning, we will you get to the Azunoi desert in the Treasures of the Sun DLC that I couldn't explore back in the day. And first let's re-equip ourselves. And you pretty much fight in the lands of the First Legion or something like that. Pretty much, it's kind of like a new area and new it's like a new area and the new. I know we're good. We can sell everything except for that amulet. She doesn't have any amulet. Let's go. Besides, this one has Chaos Fire, and she deals fire damage, and I have several procs on her that can trigger fire damage. Okay, here we have precisely Talisman of the Arcane, Will Momentum, no, Will Armor, Will Attack and Armor. This one is perfect. Ring, Attack and Armor, Stagger, well, Chaos Vampire. This one is pretty good. This one increases the healing you get. How much? 1116. Okay, you can afford that. So yeah, pretty much once we get to the Treasures of the Sun DLC, we can explore the Azunoi Desert, so it's new zone, and I wonder what enemies are there. But we need to be careful, because if we miss it, then you cannot re-access the DLC once you leave the Grand Chapterhouse in Stonebridge, or over at Stonebridge. Okay. This one. The Vampiric one. I'll take the Vampiric one. I'll take this one. Just... and that's pretty much it. And was there another shop here? No, pretty much that's it. Let me equip something. I think I never equipped a ring to Anjali. Ah, yeah, she does have this one, Raven Ring, but it's agility and doom. Let's go straight for armor and attack. And I'll probably use the vampire one because I already have vampire, and that will. The one I'm using has 4 attack and Chaos Fire. I'd rather have the Chaos Vampire one, even if my attacks are a bit weaker. Tasman 7 armor, retribution. This one has 8 attack and 1 armor. So this one will compensate for the other one, for the ring, and the ring will in turn give me Chaos Vampire. Perfect. Magnificent. I'll keep the rest. The other ones are kind of like DLC bundled items that you get when you start the game. Okay. Um. Okay. Let's get back there and continue with the main quest. As you can see here, we have Root of the Matter. This is pretty much the main story mission. And this one is Introduction, Treasures of a Sun DLC. As you can see, Grand Chapterhouse, or examine the old letter in the Causeway Hub, which reveals Commission Mark, blah 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 blah. One after you have reclaimed the Chapterhouse for the Legion, the Grand Chapterhouse in Stonebridge. Okay. So remember, we are doing a 100% completion. We are completing all of the lore, all of the side quests, everything. Another thing that we analyzed last time in this first section, before we proceed with the main story, before we keep pushing towards Stonebridge, is the not only the economy of our abilities, the combat economy of the game, but we should also take into account the combat, the item economy of the game. We also paid attention to enemy variation, that the game has to offer, which is pretty amazing. Pretty much each area has its own variation of enemies. As you can see, once you conquer an area, pretty much like, it reminds me of Metroid. It has some Metroidvania mechanics, in the sense that once you clear an area in this game, just like in some Metroidvanias, the area is kind of like, it becomes safe. For example, you could see here that I was only attacked by larvas, but not by the first people. And previously, when we defeated Rajani, we weren't attacked. We weren't attacked by the Leskanzi mercenaries anymore. Alright. Thanks, my boy. The game has pretty good 3D sound. Kind of like I can perfectly tell that it's kind of like the... Look at this here. Well, I'll show you. I don't know if it's audible over at YouTube. I've already showcased this during the first stream, but here I can perfectly hear it only on my right ear pad. Here's kind of like the center, and here the left ear pad. I kind of like can perfectly perceive it. I can perfectly notice it. I can perfectly hear it. It's extremely distinctive. Nice. Okay. Here there's another one. And we can now push towards Stonebridge. Road to Stonebridge. Perfect. Alright. So, as I was mentioning, pretty much before we begin our journey to Stonebridge, in the previous stream we analyzed the full rotation, the economy of the combat gameplay mechanics, and we just did a recap in the previous section. That's because I'm going to add timestamps to the YouTube board. We also analyzed the economy of the items in this game. You don't get as much money as in Diablo 2 or Diablo 3. In those games you can perfectly amass a fortune in a matter of hours. In this game you cannot farm because, as I've said, the areas become kind of like safe areas. There are no more enemies once you defeat the boss, the zone boss. For example, the Leskanzi mercenaries were no more once we defeated Rajani, and so on.
We are free of the swamp at last. And look, perhaps that road will take us to Stonebridge.
Yeah, not without those. First we need to defeat those Leskanzi mercs.
You could escape Leskanzi vengeance. You want revenge? And why's that? You slaughter us by the score, butcher us like animals.
They took a town.
Who asked why? I am Svarbog,
son of Zarya the witch, who
Ah,
died at your hand.
yeah, we killed
I
her.
will answer for her death, and for the deaths of all my kin.
Oof. Oof. We almost began with with a wipe. God damn it, they attacked me from behind. Burn. Remember, we now have a full rotation. As you can see, I can slow them down, and I can burn them like that. There we go. We have a mini-boss here. Okay, and now... So this... Let's recover our mana. See, this is what we've been analyzing last time. That you recover mana through your basic attacks, and in turn you feel your defensive abilities, like this one, the one that allows me to recover mana, through my special abilities. When I consume mana, in this game it's called focus, pretty much the TL bar that we all know as mana, I feel the 2 purple orbs down there, and they allow me to use my 2 defensive abilities, which allow me to regain both health and mana and focus, I guess. Okay, remember, we want to explore the Treasures of the Sun DLC, but we need to recover the Grand Chapterhouse in Stonebridge. The Grand Chapterhouse in Stonebridge. Nice. The unsettled look of the camp and the fresh tracks from the wagon indicate recent Lescancy movement into the area, probably in preparation for your arrival. Okay. Some minutes ago we were talking about the stances, precisely. In the first part of this stream, while we were getting out of a swamp. And remember, we need to get to Stonebridge to access the Treasures of the Sun DLC. And other things that we've analyzed, the gameplay mechanics, but we pretty much focus on the full rotation of our abilities, because we unlocked them. We've unlocked them recently. Only in the previous stream we got access to the full rotation of the abilities that the game has to offer. Pretty much the enemy variety is on point. No complaints there. We could see that each area of the game has different enemies. It's not as varied as something like DungeonSiege 3. This one is not as varied as something like Titan Quest, for example. The pitiful corpse of a mule has been left at the roadside. Other travelers have wandered off with the many suits of armor, sacks of gold, and impractically large battle axes that collectively crush the poor beast. Poor animal. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, in terms of the enemy variety, we can see that, for example, the spiders repeat themselves, the Lescancy mercenaries, the enemy variety could have been better. It's not bad, it's kind of like average. It's not as good as in Titan Quest. In Titan Quest, pretty much every 2 inches you have a different enemy. It's something amazing. In Torchlight 2, if I remember correctly, the same. It's absolutely crazy. In Diablo 3, it's absolutely crazy. This one is kind of like average. And also, it's not as long. It's not as long as most of those games. Hey, it looks like we've arrived to Stonebridge. And there's a construct there. Automaton Constable. Ah, just like in the first game, I think.
Welcome to Stonebridge. I see you are a 10th Legionnaire. I'm instructed to treat you with tepid disdain and mistrust. Your nation, faction, race, or institution has a negative history in our city. Local constables will keep you under careful observation. Please state the nature of your visit to our fair city.
We're just passing through.
We're just passing through. We won't be any trouble.
That answer is evasive, but insufficient grounds for the use of force to remove you from the premises. Well played. Regardless of your reasons, Stonebridge is open to the public. You are free to go, unless you require further assistance.
Describe the city.
Tell me more about this city.
Just ask the Stonebridge Chamber of Commerce and Tourism. This city is a beacon of innovation, commerce, and technology. Marvel at the elaborate system of gears that power the city. Behold our markets of plentiful goods. Inhale non-fatal doses of smog. Stonebridge is home to men and goblins dedicated to freedom and self-reliance. It is also home to thousands of feral housecats.
Okay. Okay. You can reach Stonebridge also in the first game. You reach it, in fact. This is what I've been commenting about. The lore of this game is the one thing that is extremely polished, in the sense that due to the fact that they had Chris Taylor as a consultant, as an advisor, even though this game was developed by Obsidian rather than Gas Powered Games, the original developers of DungeonSiege 1 and 2, you can see here the influence of having an advisor, a consultant, who actually created the world building of a franchise. It's a faithful recreation of the original game from the early 2000s, from 2001, I think it was released, something like that. In which you actually have to get through Stonebridge, and here same case. And we can see that in this first game, in this third game, I commented this. This game, the lore is so polished that it pretty much has constant references to the first game, more than the second one, but to the first game. You can even visit the tombs, we did it last time, of your playable character and your companions during the events of the first game, during the resurgence of Sec, pretty much. So the lore is perfectly polished.
I am a constable model automaton. I provide peacekeeping support, navigational assistance, and feline wrangling services.
We are looking for the Chapterhouse to reclaim it and start the DLC.
We're looking for the Grand Chapterhouse.
The Grand Chapterhouse is located on the south side of the Central Plaza. It is officially vacant, but some treasure seekers have gone inside. They have not come back out.
We need to reclaim our property, people. It's our
We'll be
inheritance.
on our way.
We need to reclaim our
Be
property.
advised, causing a disturbance may result in fines, detainment, bodily harm, or death. Enjoy your stay.
Alright. We've arrived. Hey, I've noticed... I cannot go through it. There we go. There we go. Alright, we've arrived. Stonebridge. I feel at home. The graphical presentation is also extremely well done. So if I had to highlight... Can I talk to this lady? No? Hey, beautiful houses. Yeah, if I had to highlight something about this game that is perfectly well done, is the polish of the graphical presentation. Hey, look at that. Actually, in my city, here in BA City, we have that pattern of bricks on the floor, and this one as well. We actually have this pattern, these two patterns precisely. It's basically medieval or European style, which we inherited also here in real life, here in BA City. It's pretty much the same. It's pretty common in European city.
City 30 years ago. I am not sure how they'll receive us.
It's pretty well done. If I had to highlight things, that must be the Grand Chapterhouse, right? Or not? Well, whatever. If I had to say, the graphical presentation of the game is amazing. It's extremely polished. The lore as well. It has a high amount of detail. So the graphical presentation, the 3D sound, and the lore, anything that has to do with the visual presentation in this game is a 10 out of 10. As I've said, the controls are the one thing that keeps it from being a perfect game, but even so, you could see that I've been able to beat it without major problems, except for the first final boss. Rusk Ketzler Memorial Bridge, commissioned by Lord Major Rupert Kessler in the year 1182, in honor of his brother Rusk, a hero of Feb, funded by donations from the Mittersohn family, the Brimfallow Foundation, and citizens like you. From the north side of the bridge, passers-by may observe the entrance to the Great Foundry in the city's lower ward. Oh, okay, so that's the Great Foundry. It's not the Chapterhouse. So yeah, basically the visual presentation of the game, the 3D effects, everything. Wanted, the criminal mastermind known as the Dapper Old Gent for theft, sabotage, and wanton destruction of city property. I don't know, there was more to read. Reward will be paid for his capture or positive proof of his death. Sigismund Wolf, First Constable. Alright. They don't talk, the citizens. It's amazing, the graphical presentation and everything. Everything that has to do with the graphical presentation of this game, we must say that it's amazing.
I haven't seen a Legionnaire in ages. You're not here to stay, are you?
No, we are here to reclaim the Chapterhouse, pretty much. Alright. See, here we can see the... Hey, there's a goblin there. It's the first one I see in this game. Here you can see also the particles of the, in this case, the leaves falling from the trees. The 3D sound. Here you get in the steps of that automaton can tell you how good the 3D sound is. Look at this. If I rotate the camera, I don't know if YouTube allows you to tell the difference because of the sound, but pretty much it has perfect 3D sound.
New in town? By the looks of you, you aren't here to buy my simple wares. Perhaps you can help me. I need someone who isn't afraid of a little danger.
What sort of help do you need?
I'm expecting a shipment of clothing, and the caravan is late. It's not exactly bars of gold, but silk is pricey enough to tempt thieves. Out east of the city, there's a camp of Lascanzi, deserters from Jane Cassender's army. They're looting every caravan that passes by. I'm not the only merchant waiting for that shipment. I need someone to scare off those thieves. Or kill them, if need be.
Don't worry. We'll make sure the road is clear.
Your wagons will be safe, and your drivers as well.
Thank you. I will, of course, make this worth your while. The thieves are camped near the road, east of the city, not far from the swamp. Good luck to you. I'll await your return.
Alright, we've got our first side quest here in Stonebridge. Another thing. Have you noticed that the face model of that character, of that quest giver, is the same as the one in stream number 1 than the one in Raven's Reel? They used the same. They recycled the face model. It's a pretty typical trick.
Good sir. No doubt there is a special lady in your life.
You would do well to invest in a gift of gemstones. She will pay you back. Whatever your price range or preference, Pratt's Jewelers can satisfy your needs.
I assume these are kind of like items to give to your companion. No. To increase the influence. No. No. No, they are also for me. For the mage. Let's see. Ah, circlets. Okay. Good. Let's see. But none of them increase the attack. None of them increase attack. Sorry, my mage's attack. Damn it. Yeah, they're not useful to me. I don't know. No, we're good. Okay. So yeah, as I was mentioning, the graphical presentation of the game is basically amazing. The 3D sound and the artistic direction it has, they're all amazing. Alright, we've got some new side quests. So, first, let's try to reclaim the Chapterhouse. I assume it's through here. Yeah. We are good. We haven't arrived yet. Okay. Alright, this has to be it. The sign has been scratched and vandalized. But you can make out a few words. Grand Chapterhouse, constructed by headquarters of the 10th Legion. Alright, here we are. We've arrived, people. We've arrived. The Grand Chapterhouse. Remember, we need to reclaim it. Let's see if we can enter. There we go. We need to reclaim the Grand Chapterhouse to finally access the Treasures of the Sun DLC. We need to pay close attention because we cannot miss it. Because remember, if we proceed with the game beyond this point without clearing this, without reclaiming this, anyways, this is part of the main story mission. But if we don't reclaim this, basically, we won't be able to access the DLC.
I wonder if anyone survived the attack on this place.
Alright, careful, our weapons have activated. Hey, nice soundtrack. This skeletal corpse appears to be a legionnaire. He was probably killed when Jane Cassinder and her mobs stormed the Chapterhouse, and he has been lying here ever since. Alright, we need to reclaim. Finally, we've arrived. We need to reclaim the Chapterhouse. And once we do, we'll be able to access the DLC. Oh boy. Good. Come on, I need some mana. I need some focus. There we go. Repairing themselves? What do you mean repairing themselves? Legion Scroll. The 10th Legion was founded upon 4 principal pillars: vigilant defense, reconciliation with our foes, allegiance to the crown, fair judgment. Just as these 4 pillars uphold our legion, so do the 4 books guard. So do the 4 books guard this Chapterhouse. If the books are not in place, the inner sanctum will be closed, and the guardians will slay those who trespass on our sacred ground. Alright. Alright, pretty much that's the idea. We need to find the books. The 4 books of the Legion. Alright. Book of Reconciliation, Book of Vigilance, Book of... Ah, there's... I wonder if I get experience and I can exploit this. Am I getting experience? I don't think so. Good. Damn it, no, because they are not dying. Okay. Nice. Nice variation of the gameplay mechanics. See, these subtle touches are the ones that really count. Okay, I need to find the books. Okay, they are marked, but... Alright, that wasn't... They are marked, but I cannot access them. It has to be some kind of sequence. Okay. Let's preemptively recover our focus, just in case. We need to find the first book so we can access the other ones. Okay. I know, but we're trapped here. I think we're trapped. Books, books, books. Where are the books? Here, here. No, I cannot interact with those. So, well, at least we finally arrived at the Grand Chapterhouse. I cannot see a thing. Book, book. Nope, just loot. Pretty well hidden loot, but just loot. Let's see. No, they would be marked in the map, I guess. Let's get over. Let's get through here. But this is blocked. The path is blocked. Right. How do I access? Okay, I'm a bit lost. How do I get at this one? Here we go. There we go. No point in killing them. I mean, yeah, to recover my health and my focus. I love how this level is kind of like perfectly balanced for the gameplay mechanics. Because, remember, with our basic attacks, in terms of the economy of the combat mechanics, I recover focus through basic attacks, and I recover defensive abilities through my special attacks that use focus. Alright. So technically the game allows for an endless combat loop. Just like in Diablo 2, but with a different philosophy. Just like in most isometric action RPGs. That you kind of like... The difference is that in most isometric action RPG games, think about Diablo 2, think about Torchlight, think about Titan Quest, any isometric action RPG you like. Think how the combat loop, the basic combat gameplay mechanics, simply involve having endless mana regeneration. Rather than a third resource. Heck, I should be able to save here. What's this? There's kind of like a save spot there. Okay, what now? That's right, through here. It wasn't that difficult. They could have gone for something a bit better, unless we face a boss right now. No, we are lacking one book. There we go. I wouldn't have made them die just because you pick the book. Kind of like you should be forced to face them, to kill them once more after you recover each book. God damn it. I was expecting a fully fledged level. This was kind of like a weird puzzle, I guess. Hey, what's that? Nothing. Oh well. Then we go through here. In the year 1154, King Conrad signed a treaty with the goblins, granting them rights as citizens of Ebb. Most cities and towns immediately passed laws to prevent any goblins from settling in their midst, but in Stonebridge, Mayor Rupert Ketzler sensed an opportunity. Ketzler knew that the goblins were rich, so he invited them to settle in his city. Goblins poured into Stonebridge, spending their gold and buying up properties. Some of the people were angry at first until they realized that the goblins' wealth could make them rich too. What followed was a golden age as the humans adopted goblin technology and the Collegium was established. To educate humans and goblins alike, probably the most famous figure of the age was the legendary goblin Brimfallow, who single-handedly doubled the number of patents on file in the contracts office. By the time Major Ketzler died, having bought himself a noble title, not to mention the biggest manor in town, and was succeeded in office by his son, Stonebridge had become the richest city in Ebb. Many humans were now wealthy merchants, exporting the products of goblin inventions to Glazern, Bisselberg, and beyond. All references to the first game, because I also remember that in the first game there weren't any goblins in the city. The lore, definitely having Chris Taylor as a consultant of the game ensured that the lore would be faithful to all of the world building that the first and the second games did, especially the first one. According to the oldest stories, Archons were spirits of fire shaped by the creator gods. They served the old gods as messengers and heralds, communicating with mortals on the gods' behalf. Details describe them as female, usually bearing a staff or a spear with eyes of brilliant flame. At the dawn of the First Age, DungeonSiege 1, the creator gods tumbled from the heavens, but the Archons seem to have outlived their masters. If the old accounts can be believed, they were said to wander the divine and mortal realms, seeking their lost gods. Ancient stories describe meetings between Archons and humans, in which an Archon helps a human right a wrong, or passes judgment upon a human for a particularly wicked act. In a few rare stories, an Archon falls in love with a human male, but those stories almost never end well. The Stellar Emperors revered the Archons, viewing them as god ancestors of the imperial line. Empress Yansha, who united the Aeolian tribes and founded the Empire of Stars, was believed to be the offspring of an Archon and a tribal chief. All the later emperors claimed descent from her, and thus from an Archon as well. Okay. The lore of the game is, as I've said here, you can see it is extremely polished, pretty. Yeah. pretty in depth, pretty detailed, with a lot of care. It's done with a lot of care, in the sense that pretty much Chris Taylor wanted to preserve his.
A causeway gate, just as Odo said. Now we can bring the others here.
That's the idea. Yeah, most probably Chris Taylor.
Strange. These causeways have a quiet beauty to my eyes.
Anjali, take the causeway back to Rukenval. Tell Odo and Martin that we've reclaimed the Chapterhouse and bring them back here.
In the old Legion, the role of herald was an honor, especially when the news was good. I'll go at once, and I'll guide them safely back.
Remember this place. It hasn't changed so much.
We heard rumors of a battle in the swamp. Royalists against Jane Cassinda.
Yep.
What news? You weren't caught up in any trouble, I hope.
Yeah, we were in the middle of the problem. We were in the thick of battle in the previous stream. We stumbled upon a swamp with the royalists facing the other army and the first people. As I was saying, Chris Taylor preserved the lore of the franchise as a consultant, even if the gameplay mechanics were different. We can see a clear difference.
The rumors of a battle were true. Most of the royal army are dead, but we met their general, a man called Devonsey.
Devonsey? You're sure that was his name?
30 years ago, Finn Devonsey was one of us, master of the Legion Chapterhouse in Glacier. And he called himself by a different name, a Legion name.
He called himself by another name? What was it?
Bohemond, an old and respectable name. He wasn't born to the Legion, so he took the name after he joined. My father knew him, spoke well of him.
When the Legion was accused of murdering the king, Devonsey renounced his vows and quit the Legion, insisted that the charges were true.
Ah, look at that.
Stubborn man, strong conscience, best tactical mind in the Legion too.
He's, in case you don't remember, he's the general from the swamp, the one that we saw at the beginning of the stream with the mustache, with the white hair,
Devonsey has Legion blood. He might be willing to join us.
He might speak on our behalf at least, convince the Queen that we can be trusted. If we seal an alliance with the royal court, we prove that Ebb has a future. People would rally behind us. Last I heard, the Queen had retreated to the Glitterdelf mine.
That's where Jane will be going too. If she gets her hands on the Queen, our war is lost.
Devonsey mentioned the Queen more than once. What's her name?
True.
Rosalind. She'd be, 17 years old by now? Last of the royal line. Jane Cassinda would like nothing better than to capture the girl. With Rosalind caught or dead, resistance dries up and Stonebridge stands alone.
Yet the daughter of the king, of the murdered king, that, as you could see, the Legion has been accused. It's incredible. It's what I've been telling you. Even the political system inside of this game is extremely has been made with with a lot of polish and extreme care of what the characters say, so the player perfectly imagines the situation. In that sense, you can see the benefits of having the consultant of the original game in the team,
How do we know that the royal...
even if the gameplay mechanics change.
We don't. They probably still believe that the Legion murdered the old king.
Odo's right. They may be wary of us, but we have truth on our side.
Truth won't help you if people don't believe you, sadly.
Glitterdelf mine is a long march from here, many days on foot. Take the causeway instead. The Legion had an outpost not far from the mines. Must have been a causeway there, too, and I doubt the gate was ever sealed.
We'll try to find the royal court then. Is there anyone else who might join us?
The Meisters, the merchant lords of Stonebridge. They'd be powerful friends.
Friends? These people believe Jane's lies. They murdered our brothers and sisters. No reason to think they'll embrace us now.
No reason to think they won't, if we show ourselves worthy of trust. At least the Meisters could tell us if any Legionnaires survived.
So the Meisters govern Stonebridge. Are they nobility?
Nobility? Far from it. They're the richest men in the city. Merchants, bankers, bureaucrats. Stonebridge calls itself a republic now, ever since the old king died, and the people drove out the last Lord Mayor.
Oh, what? Do I get to choose the quest?
Any idea where I can find the Meisters?
Probably at the old mayoral office, on the main square. I'm told it was converted into a great public hall where the Meisters hold court.
I want to do both side quests. Can I do both of them? Or do I have to choose? What the? Don't tell me I get to choose the quest. I don't want to choose. I want to do both of them. Damn it. What do I do? I mean, don't tell me I have to choose. Can we do both of them? Well, I guess we choose the Royal Army, I guess.
Jane is probably besieging the mines by now. The Meisters can wait.
I agree. And if Jane is at Glitterdelve, we may have a chance to kill her and finally end the war.
Up to you. Martin and I will trust in your decision, and we'll be here if you need us.
Can't we do both? Yeah, we probably can. Otherwise, the game... I have a theory. I have a theory, guys, which is that... where's the creative destruction here? I have a theory, which is that this game is short in terms of quests when compared to something like... I mean, it's longer than Diablo 2 without any mods, but it's shorter when compared to modern isometric action RPG games, and also games to RPGs in general from the 7th generation. No. Mirror lip. I have a theory, which is that since the game is rather on the short side in terms of the length of the side quests and everything, they don't have they never, the developers of the game, Square Enix, pretty much, they never had the luxury of... They could never have the luxury of giving you different paths, different side quests according to what you, according to the dialogue options you choose. So that's why I think we probably can do all of them. Okay. Critical hits. 30. Focus. Militancy, right? Additional focus. The amount of focus gain is increased. Right, let's... This one is good against mobs, I guess. Because for this one you need to deal a critical hit. I want to avoid that one. Alright, Oswald? Where's Oswald? We should be there. Where are you, Oswald? I've been told that Tumble down court out to Greater Dales. When discussing deserters. Ah no, I didn't get the... visit the Meisterhall. See, we got both story quests. We got both of them. Yeah, the thing is that they give you the dialogue option, but it's not actually a choice. Because, as I've said, I think they never had the luxury... There's the DLC, finally. Alright. I think they never had the luxury of... There's Oswald. Alright, so next time we'll begin with the Treasures of the Sun DLC straight away. Perfect. So we'll... It's been an hour and 26 minutes, so next time we'll go straight for the DLC. Perfect. For now we'll finish the side quest. We'll finish the side quest and then we can deal with the rest. So, supply lines and majority rules there. We'll do those. One story quest and one side quest. Pretty much. So yeah, as I've been mentioning, the... Is through here? No. Through here I leave the city, which I don't want to. We'll do the Maester's Court and the side quest. Okay. So yeah, pretty much, yeah, as I was mentioning, they never had the luxury of creating different quests because the game is on the short side, pretty much. Even I, that I'm doing a 100% completion, consider that I'm reading every book, doing every side quest, trying to explore the DLC, and everything. Even with all of that, the game is on the short side. Even that reclaiming the Grand Chapterhouse that you could see there, it was rather short. However, the Gandoric Manor side quest was longer, and it's at the beginning of the game. We begin to see a pattern here, and we see less side quests here right now. You know what that means? That they were probably rushed by the end of the... Probably the development of the game was rushed. Kind of like at the end. I mean, more than the end, I would say midway through development. Halfway there, they probably rushed the development, if I had to say. See how short this side quest is, for example. See how short how small the map is in comparison to the first chapter of the game. I mean, luckily they added the swamp, but we'll see. The length of the game could be another flaw it has besides the camera. So far, if I had to highlight flaws, I would say the biggest ones are the camera, that it does some clipping in certain areas. the controls of the combat system and pretty much the controls. And now I'm discovering this third flaw, which basically is that the game is rather short in terms of the side quests. I mean, it's pretty evident. In the once you reach a Stonebridge, once you get to, let's say, the 50% completion of the game, once you pretty much get halfway through the game, I hope this tendency doesn't repeat, but well, it's not. I hope that the let's say the end game has more side quests and everything. For example, see how short this side quest was.
My supplies arrived. Thank you, my friends.
See here, they recycled the face of this NPC. I'm beginning to see elements that indicate rushed development, if I had to guess. Recycled faces, shorter side quests. We might as well do everything today. The court, whatever. Alright, so we could do this because yeah, could do this. They're both at Glitterdale, or whatever, however it's called, Glitterdelb. Travel to Glitterdelb. Visit to the Meisterhall. We'll do this one then. We'll do this one because it's in the same city, and we'll leave the we'll start the Treasures of the Sun DLC right away next time. Yeah, I'm beginning to see. We are beginning to see elements of rushed development. We're beginning to see the elements of a rushed development. Not at the beginning. The first zone is kind of like.
Please do not litter or excrete in alleyways.
All right. Don't poop on the street. Ah, the city is bigger.
Please comply with all local laws and customs.
Alright, let's see if we can get some more side quests. Ah, the place is huge.
30 years and they still haven't caught the dapper old gent. We all live in fear of him.
Yeah, the wanted. Lorgain. This massive orrery depicts a classical view of the cosmos, according to scholars of the Stonebridge Collegium. Like the other gears and machines in the city, it is strangely silent and motionless. The plaque reads, "The technological wonders of Stonebridge are powered by the great foundry, which lies beneath the city. Long ago the ovens and furnaces of the foundry were fed with coal, but now they are animate and alive, fueled by spirits of elemental flame. Each elemental is bound to a furnace or an oven, providing a source of intense heat. This heat turns water into steam, powering great underground engines and bringing the gears of Stonebridge to life." So yeah, as I've been mentioning, we can clearly see...
Offhand, how many fingers would you say a person really needs? Oh, no reason.
As I've been mentioning, what's that one? Amplitude of Frost. What's that one? What's that? Blah 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 blah. No, it has to be pretty up. Hey, in the list there. Agility plus 11 attack. We lose a stagger with our basic attack, but it doesn't matter. That one is way too powerful. The same goes for this one. This one's kind of like perfect. I was using a shitty one. Well, that will be a huge bump in terms of attacks. Hey, now we have the gear in our belt. Look at that. Insane attention to detail. Hey, I'm not pressing anything in my joystick. What a weird effect. It moves. Yeah, it rotates a bit. That's weird. Okay, so the city was a bit bigger. But still, I don't see a lot of side quests. Here you are probably leaving the cities.
Not so fast, Legionnaire. None shall pass this gate without the express authorization of the wise and beneficent Meisters of Stonebridge.
Okay.
I'll speak to the Meisters then.
Be advised, the wise and beneficent Meisters are reluctant to spend time in the company of wastrels.
Okay, so this is the end of the map for now.
Step right up, friend. I've got all manner of weapons and gear.
They recycled the voice of Gaara from Naruto pretty much in pretty much the same guy, the Lescansi mercenaries, a lot of the merchants, and even more. So recycled voices, recycled. We can see that the budget of this game was pretty low. They all indicate that. We cannot choose different side quests. Sorry, we cannot choose different paths for the main story quest. Sorry, there are not a lot of different side quests past the mid game section. So yeah, pretty much. And the fact that the quests, the quests at the beginning of the game in the early game are so long. Welcome to the Meisterhall. No lottering, no picking, no testing place. Okay. Pretty much tells you of a rushed development. Probably not at the beginning, but halfway there.
Free the Krug! Free the Krug!
Free the Krug? What do you mean, free the Krug?
Free the Krug!
Isn't it just dreadful? They've locked up an innocent creature. This is an outrage.
See also the recycling of the face models of the NPCs. It's pretty much the same face model with different. For example, without the freckles, I think this one. But it's pretty much the same face model with different hair and without the freckles.
Krugs aren't exactly peaceful creatures. Why should it be released?
If the Krug didn't do anything criminal, it has the same rights as a human or goblin.
Wrong.
You can always judge a society by how it treats its downtrodden.
Wrong. I've studied civil law, and animals are considered objects because they have no will in terms of the law. You cannot. How are we supposed to classify them as it would be rights non-human rights holder would be someone tried to do that classification even here in Argentina following the international jurisprudence, the cases pretty much. And
have you thought the Krug might be safer behind bars?
My children would be safer if I locked them in the basement, but I wouldn't dream of doing that.
I should be going.
Carry on. Spread the word. Free the Krug.
Just in case you are wondering what happens in real life, animals are considered objects for civil law. Because how is kind of like the law supposed to classify them as non-human rights holder if they have no kind of like will?
Rejoice! The Meisters have concluded their session and the hall is now open to the rabble. Apologies. The preferred term is public.
Okay. Let's see if we can see the Meisters.
Ah, half a minute there. You came from the Chapterhouse, did you not? Tell me, is it true? Has the Legion returned?
I don't see any reason why not to say it.
Only a few of us. But yes, we've reclaimed the old Chapterhouse.
Ha! Let them laugh at me now. Meister Wolf, with his silly dreams of radiant children and prophecies of the Legion's return.
Are any Legionnaires still living in Stonebridge?
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid not. Jane and her mobs were quite thorough. That whole affair was a mark of shame upon our city. Be assured that I took no part in that travesty, nor did my father or anyone else who bears the name Wolf.
Because this is the guy that Odo told us about.
You had a dream of a golden-haired child? A boy?
Precisely so. Not a fortnight past, I dreamt that I saw a golden-haired boy standing at my bedside. He bade me get up and follow him.
Tell me the rest of your dream.
The boy led me through the city square, then up to the Chapterhouse gate. Only, it wasn't dark and abandoned, as it's been for so long. It was clean and bright. Lion banners snapping in the breeze. Gates open wide, as if expecting the Legion's return. Then I awoke, and there I was, standing in my underclothes, in the middle of the street, gawking at the ruins of the Chapterhouse. A child's idea of a joke, I dare say. Still, I knew it was more than a dream.
You saw the Radiant Youth? Are you descended from the Legion?
Wish I were, but no. My father was a merchant, and his father as well.
Doesn't matter.
If I'd had any Legion blood, I dare say I'd have been killed with the rest of them 30 years back.
I'm here to address the Meisters. We want to propose an alliance against Jane Cassinder.
An alliance? That'll be tricky business. I can force them to give you a hearing, at least. I'll warn you, though, they're scared. Scared of Jane Cassinder and her armies. Scared that we'll lose our republic if she takes the city by force. And scared of other things, too.
Other things?
Scared of something else. Something inside the city?
Ah, I think I remember this.
Forget I spoke of it.
It's the...
The other
You'll
Meisters
see, you'll
will know
see.
You've been talking to mad old Wolf with his secrets and conspiracies, and that won't win you any friends on the council.
Never mind. I'll speak to the Meisters another time.
Yes, wait.
Whenever you like, I shall inform the other Meisters that the Legion is in the city. A great pleasure to meet you.
Let me explore the rest of the hall. Meister support. Or Meister. Is there any lore in here? Anything? Do you know that it gives you experience? That reading gives you experience. Yeah, knew it. Knew it, people. Stonebridge is governed by the Council of Meisters, or however they pronounce it, Meisters, who are elected from among the leading citizens of the town. Each Meister holds a major city office. Major, First Constable, Chief Barrister, Master of the College, and spokesman for the guilds. The Meisters administer all state functions, though in practice there are few in number. The Stonebridge government is strictly laissez-faire, preferring to keep taxes low and laws few, while encouraging individual enterprise. If only this could happen in reality. Stonebridge territory includes the town proper. At least it would help in my city. Which kind of like, haven't you noticed if you live in kind of like in a capital city, I don't know, either Paris or I don't know, Madrid in the case of Spain, or Dublin in the case of Ireland, or London in the case of the UK, or I don't know, in the case of the US, New York, well, it's not the capital, but one of the high concentration dense population centers, or Washington DC, or I don't know, or Rome in the case of Italy, or whatever. In my case, I live at the capital city, and I can assure you, taxes are beyond anything, and on top of that, we have economic problems. But yeah, pretty much taxes have always been kind of like pretty high in the last 15 or 20 years, in terms of. Yeah, pretty much. Always, if you live in a big city, the taxes are always high, so this is a miracle. Stonebridge territory includes the town proper and the rich farmlands to the south, which once fed most of western Ebb. The city is a free republic, that's where the farmer comes from, your character in the first game. The city is a free republic and it owes no allegiance to any external power. Independent city, probably any city's dream. In my city, the city I live in, BA for example, is called autonomous. We the people who live in cities, we always want the same. The city to be autonomous, so no one bothers us. The city is a free republic and it owes no allegiance to any external power. Neither the former monarchy of Ebb nor the Astonite Church has any authority within the bounds of the city. Okay. I bet this has more lore here. No.
Welcome to the Stonebridge jail. Do you have business with the incarcerated?
Nope.
Isn't running a jail a bit complicated for an automaton?
I apologize, but I was not designed to answer questions of a remedial nature. I repeat, do you have business with the incarcerated?
Not at the moment.
Wasting the time of Stonebridge constables is not presently a jailable offense. But this policy is subject to change without prior notice. Good day.
Okay. Pretty well done. Top-notch dialogue lines. Behind this barred door is the notorious Dead Man's Cell. Only the most infamous criminals are imprisoned here, and only after they have been sentenced to death. The last occupant of the cell was the goblin Nibble Tag, the so-called Kitten Reaper, who tried to single-handedly solve the problem of a much-loved feral cats that once filled the streets of Stonebridge. These are all references to the first game, if I'm not mistaken. It's been so much time since I played it, but I think they are all references to the original game. So, anything else to read? Any other piece of lore? We are doing a 100% completion. Anything else? No. Everything ready. So let's proceed. We'll open the other door.
Gentlemen and goblins, order! Council recognizes the envoy from the 10th Legion.
Master Wolf tells us that you propose an alliance. A grave matter indeed. Perhaps our colleague forgot to emphasize how deeply we value our neutrality.
A war with Jane Cascinder would risk the very life of our republic. What do we gain by siding with the Legion?
Take this from someone who lives in a capital city. Reuniting is not something we usually like. You need allies.
The Royal Army is destroyed. It's only a matter of time before Jane Cascinder turns against you. Let us help protect your city.
A fair point. We are reasonable fellows, and we know that Jane Cascinder looks upon Stonebridge with covetous eyes.
See? I know how to treat them, people.
You can understand why some in the city might fear the Legion's return.
Countless legionnaires were murdered in our streets. People might think that you've come to seek revenge.
We are here to protect them.
Forget the past. Those murders are 30 years gone. We came here to reconcile, not for revenge.
Words alone are unlikely to sway our good citizens. Perhaps if we form a committee, study the problem for several months or a year.
Typical.
The Legion is no threat.
Typical.
There's far more dangerous things in this city. If you would only open your eyes.
Typical. Let's make a committee. In a year, we'll solve the problem.
Of the dapper old gent, no doubt.
Indeed, sir, I do. You think that the trouble in the foundry is not the work of the gent?
Typical city way of solving things. Let's create a committee in a matter of 10 years. Maybe we can come up with a fucking solution. I'm telling you this because I've seen it. I've seen it. Typical. Let's form a committee. Maybe in a matter of 10 years we'll come up with a solution.
The gent? Who is he?
Okay. You know it. If you live in a big city, you know it.
His retribution in mortal guise.
Meister Wolf, Let us not turn aside from the matter at hand. We owe the Legion our vote.
No, wait. That hardly seems fair. Force a vote now, and it will assuredly go against the Legion. I propose a recess. Let us each speak privately to the Legionnaires, so that we can reach an informed and impartial judgment.
Nice point.
How many votes do I need to win your support?
A simple majority will suffice. 3 of 5 votes cast in the Legion's favor. Council declares a recess. We shall reconvene after the Legion envoy has spoken to each of my esteemed colleagues, and all are prepared to render a judgment.
I smell side quests all over the place. Yes. Yes. This is like it reminds me of, you know which game? Of Knights of the Old Republic 1. The
You'll have my vote. It's the others who will need convincing.
who is this old?
During the council meeting, you said
This guy.
something about the dapper old gent.
Understand, what I tell you now must be held in the strictest confidence. For a great many years, Stonebridge has been haunted by a most elusive villain. He appears out of thin air, wherever and whenever he likes. Confounds my constables at every turn. Even the automatons, mind you.
Does this man have a proper name?
He's the guy from the wanted
Only a few
paper.
witnesses have seen him, but they all say that he's exquisitely dressed, an elderly gentleman of quality. Someone started calling him the dapper old gent. The name stuck.
What has he done
Crimes has he committed?
to get a
Theft,
warrant?
sabotage, wanton destruction of city property. Lately, his schemes have taken a sinister turn. Less thieving and more mayhem. Almost as if he hates Stonebridge and all its people. All the scoundrels of the city worship him. They serve him as eyes and ears.
You employ automatons as town constables?
Indeed. They're disciplined, tireless, and they follow orders without question. Far better than the lazy lugs that we used to employ. When I finally won the first constable's chair, I sacked a lot of them. Ah!
Enough about the gent for now.
Right. Something else you need.
Can you tell me anything about the other Meisters? Anything that might help me convince them?
Meister Grimmelhouse, the mayor, he'll vote with the majority. Always does. So it
Typical.
comes down to the other 3. Castle, Mudgutter, and Fiddlewick.
Typical. Is there something more coward than voting what the majority votes just because it's a majority?
Can you tell me anything about Meister Castle?
He's a hard-bitten man. Likes nothing so much as sweat on a workman's brow. Castle is the guild master of ironmongers. The most powerful guild in Stonebridge, I dare say. They maintain the great foundry beneath the city streets.
Mudgutter can't be very pleasant with a name like that.
Not pleasant as such. Mudgutter is a goblin, after all, and a barrister on top of it. But one can admire his efficiency.
Lawyer.
Pass a contract before his eyes, and he will remember every clause, no matter how tiny the print. Above all else, he reveres the law, and I cannot fault him for that.
He should teach me. He should teach me how to do that. To remember every clause of the contract. With only one side of it.
Fiddlewick is an odd name. What's he like?
A soft-hearted little fellow, always arguing with Castle over some question of wages or social class. Fiddlewick is master of the college, so he has a permanent seat on the council. And he's a goblin, of course, hence the name.
Thanks. That's all I needed to know.
No trouble at all. Honored to be of service to the Legion.
We'll talk again later.
Capital. I'll look forward to it.
Okay. So, pretty much the story quest diverged into 2 different story quests, which are basically the rescuing the queen with the loyalists, and also the gaining the favor of the Meisters. But pretty much you have to go through this first quest before you do the other one, so it makes no difference.
Ah, yes. I was wondering when you'd come and harass me. No doubt you're here to solicit my vote for your organization.
You could at least offer me a proper introduction.
Oh, yes, trivialities. I'm Lord Barrister Mudgutter, Director of the Office of Contracts and Patents, Chief Magistrate of Stonebridge. And I have some other random titles with capital letters. I think I'm technically the High Marshal of Top Fermenting Beverages.
Then I trust you're the goblin to talk to if I want the Meister's support.
One of them, yes. I think you'll find that Wolf is very much smitten with the romantic notion of the Legion. The rest of us need convincing.
How can the Legion earn your vote?
Well, you could help me alphabetize court documents, but
No,
a better
please.
use of your talents would be to help me with an investigation.
No, please.
Normally, I'd have Wolf handle the situation, but it happens to involve a sizable degree of danger, and Wolf is too important to risk.
If this is the price for your support, I accept. Just tell me what you need.
So, the matter at hand. We've had numerous reports of masked individuals hauling automatons into the crypts under the city. Whatever their aim, they are slowly eroding our defenses, and that is intolerable, especially with Jane Cassinder and her army on the loose. If someone was to enter the crypts and purge them of these criminals, I would owe that person a favor.
You said that these crypts are underneath the city?
Indeed. Old records refer to them as the Crypts of the Sacred Blood.
Look at the facial
Network of
expressions.
tunnels extending from the farmlands in the south. With every passing generation, further tunnels are dug. No one has charted them all. The crypt in question is cut off from the rest, thanks to a tunnel collapse some years back. So you needn't fear getting lost.
Have many of your automatons gone missing?
Only a few have gone missing. More troubling is that a few have returned looking like they were opened and studied.
Oh.
Consider it done. We'll be back when we've dealt with these criminals.
Well then, if you keep your word, I shall do the same and cast my vote in support of the Legion. Good day.
Okay. The other two would be the other goblin. The major, we know he votes with the majority. The other guy, he's with us, so let's see.
So the Legion has come looking for my vote. These are perilous times. An entangling alliance is hardly prudent. But I forget my manners. I am Rorik Castle, City Meister and Factol of the Ironmongers.
What does your guild do?
We smelt ore, forge steel, and craft tools for the city's artisans. Most importantly, we oversee the operation of the city's foundry. The foundry is the wellspring of our city's prosperity. We keep the economy in motion, and we are the drumbeat of progress.
Your guild is obviously important. We need friends like you, and we're willing to prove our goodwill.
If you wish to be of service, there is a certain problem that requires attention. The foundry is presently overrun. It's the blasted Cyclopses. They were docile workers for years, but something in them snapped, and they've brought the foundry to a standstill.
Pay attention to the left eye of these NPCs face. It's kind of like pretty similar to it's different than in the rest of the NPCs, and I think it's done on purpose to kind of like show that he's kind of like a person who works a lot and everything. Those small details, because he's, of course, you could see he's kind of like the guild master of the smith industry in this city. So you can see that they knew how to bring these characters to life in a way that is extremely realistic.
Why would they do this? Do you have any idea?
None at all. But I'm not involved in the day-to-day supervision of their work. Speak to my foreman.
Also, the tone of the voice
at the foundry.
is that of a man who has worked a lot, for example. Okay, we have the strike of the Cyclops. The Cyclops on strike. We've got the crates.
Aren't you one of our professors from the Department of Magic?
I am.
Yes, of course. Reinhardt, isn't it? The promising young fellow. So you've thrown in your lot with the Legion, have you? I'm afraid I can't give you my vote, even if you are a college man. My mind is made up. Stonebridge will have no entangling alliances.
Why are you so eager to dismiss the Legion?
I trust the Legion. What I don't trust is this city. It has a dark history with the Legion. Some doors should remain closed. Personally, I wish you great success in restoring the Legion, but I don't feel my vote for you is in the best interest of Stonebridge.
Are you sure there's nothing we can do to win your vote?
At the moment, no. But worry not, I'm sure the other Meisters will vote for you if you sate their self-interested needs. Now, I do have a task or two for you. It's not going to win over my vote, but I would find a way to repay your efforts.
Nice. Side quests.
Long ago, the Legion served as the mediator of first and last resort. When an argument ran out of control, the Legion offered counsel.
Is the court system of Stonebridge inadequate?
For now, you will arbitrate civil matters that are beyond the purview of the courts. Mudgutter and his barristers will handle the criminals. Your first task is to handle a situation with a prisoner of ours, a Krug. He has no crimes charged against him, but his fate is disputed.
Oh, yeah.
Many argue he's safer in prison. Others want him free. He's here in the Meisterhall's jail. Make your inquiries there, then tell the automaton who presides over the jail what you've decided. It's hardly dragon slaying, but if you're true to the Legion, you'll have time for small matters. Go on now, I've got work to do.
Alright, so at least we've got a lot.
Can you tell me a little about Stonebridge?
Of course, I always have time to talk.
At least we have a lot of side quests.
What do you need to know?
We'll begin
So
with the
you're
basics.
master of the college?
Yes, they appointed me a few months ago when old Professor Gibbergast retired. Wanted to spend more time with his wards, he said. Strange fellow. I think he went a little funny in the noggin. As for me, well, I suppose I've been with the college for quite a few years now. Ever since the fall of the Legion, or thereabouts.
That's all I need to know. I should be going.
What? No.
Take care.
What the?
Welcome.
Can you tell?
What do you need to know?
Why do humans and goblins get along so well here? It wasn't always this way.
Ah, yes. This city is quite the achievement of cosmopolitan sensibilities. For more than a century, the goblin presence has grown. The laws of Stonebridge value all sentient life, which is a good thing. Human cuisine plus goblinoid cooking technology equals paradise.
I've always admired the technology in this city. Gears on the buildings, automaton constables.
Wonderfully chaotic, isn't it? Rather like our collegium. It's our work that makes it all possible, of course. The many guilds of the city adapted our research to make tools that benefit their trade. One worker now has the output of 3. I worry what this will mean. Not enough jobs, too much power for machine owners. But I digress. These issues don't concern the Legion.
That's all I...
Take care now.
Alright. Pretty much. There we have the quest. So, pretty much today we received a ton of side quests. Fortunately, in this last section. Good, good. So we have 1, 2. This one is involved. 3, 4. And this one. So we got 4 quests to do in the city.
Free the Krug! Free the Krug!
we've got all of those quests. That's all of those quests. That's good news. That's good news. Because I was starting to think that the game would have no more side quests here. So good. We have plenty of things to do, but we will. We also have the DLC. So we'll do this. We'll do this. Next time we'll begin with all of the side quests. All of the side quests, and then, because it was a long introduction, there was a lot of dialogue today. Today was almost all dialogue. So first we'll do all of the side quests next time. And once we kind of like cleared the city, once we clear the city, once we get the approval, and once we can leave, before leaving, we'll get to the Treasures of the Sun DLC on Thursday of next week, pretty much. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is it for today. Sorry that today we didn't do a lot of combat, but we did some side quests in the swamp. But yeah, pretty much. We also reclaimed the Grand Chapterhouse, but there wasn't a lot of fighting there, and yes, pretty much. Today it was all dialogue, but now that we are done with the introductions, we can get to the. Remember that we are doing a 100% completion of the game, so I want to give you kind of like the full perspective of everything that the game has to offer. So pretty much, we've already said this is it for today. We did a lot of today. It was kind of like a lot of dialogues, but pretty much we arrived at Stonebridge at the beginning. At least 1 hour of the stream was reclaiming the Chapterhouse and side quests. Half of it was, yeah, pretty much dialogues. Pretty much dialogues. So yeah, next time we'll get to do all of the side quests. And after that, all of the side quests in Stonebridge, and then we'll get to the Treasures of the Sun DLC. And well, then we can continue with the main quest. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been my pleasure. See you all on Tuesday. So on Tuesday we'll do the rest of the side quests here in Stonebridge, and then on Thursday the Treasures of the Sun DLC. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been my pleasure. See you all next time.